Is Emmanuel Macron Europe's new Napoleon? Let's break it down. First off, let's talk about what Macron actually said. Standing in Britain's parliament, he declared, "We will save Europe by our example and our solidarity." That's not just friendly diplomacy. That's classic grandiosity. Macron loves to position himself and France as the heroes who will rescue an entire continent from ruin. Sound familiar? It should. Napoleon Bonaparte did exactly the same. He built an entire myth of being Europe's saviour, only to plunge it into endless wars. Then there's Macron's tone. He actually said the United Kingdom cannot stay on the sidelines. That's not a request. That's a command. Even though Britain left the European Union, EU, Macron is effectively telling us that defence, security and democracy in Europe are his business. He's acting like he has the right to dictate Britain's foreign policy, just as Napoleon dictated terms to his European rivals. Macron also wants Europe to reduce dependence on both the United States and China. On paper? Sensible, but look at how he sells it as France's job, his job to lead Europe towards strategic autonomy. He's pushing for a European military peacekeeping force in Ukraine, funded and organised by European countries with security guarantees from the US. That's Macron acting as the General-in-Chief of Europe, designing its entire military strategy. It's textbook Napoleonic behaviour: centralise command, set the agenda, dominate the coalition. Let's not forget the stagecraft. Macron's visit was dripping with imperial imagery, addressing MPs in the Royal Gallery, carriages through streets lined with Union Jacks and French tricolours, a state banquet at Windsor Castle with royals, politicians and celebrities. He even brought the Bayeux Tapestry, which literally depicts the conquest of England, to lend a little historical gravitas. That's not subtle. That's the kind of theatrics Napoleon perfected. Now let's get real about one of the thorniest issues, migration. Britain faces record numbers crossing the English Channel in small boats. Over 20,000 people in the first 6 months of 2025 alone, a 50% rise on last year. Macron says France and Britain must address this with humanity, solidarity and fairness. Sounds noble, right? But let's not forget that French beaches remain the main launching point. British officials want tougher policing. France hasn't delivered. So Macron's lofty talk of shared responsibility often masks failure and finger-pointing. Again, it's imperial-style spin. I will solve your problem on my terms. Let's compare Macron to UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer for a moment. Macron is the self-styled strategist. He wants Europe to break free of US and Chinese influence and chart its own course. Starmer, on the other hand, is far more cautious. He's been called emollient in how he deals with the US, especially President Donald Trump. While Macron grandstands about leading Europe to independence, Starmer tries not to rock the boat. But Britain's interests aren't always the same as Macron's. When Macron says we must do things together, he often means on France's terms. That's the real question. Who does Emmanuel Macron really speak for? France, first and foremost. He talks about shared values, solidarity and defending democracy. But he also wants big French energy investments in Britain's nuclear sector, more security guarantees from Britain for Europe, and continued joint policing of the Channel. These deals aren't charity. They're strategic bets that keep France central, just as Napoleon once brokered alliances that really served him. So why should anyone in Britain care about Macron's Napoleonic streak? Because this is exactly the danger of over-personalised, over-the-top diplomacy. You get grandiose visions that hide self-interest, grandstanding that obscures real failures, like France's struggle to stop the boats, attempts to tie Britain back into European security and political structures even after Brexit. It's all dressed up in talk of order, justice and solidarity. But at its heart, it's an old story, a French leader trying to set the rules for Europe. Here's the payoff. We shouldn't be fooled by the pageantry, by the grand words in Parliament, or by the historic gifts like the Bayeux Tapestry. We should be asking, what does France want from us? Who is setting the agenda? How do we keep Britain sovereign and accountable? Because as history shows, Europe's would-be saviours often bring their own change. No-nonsense analysis like this, don't forget to subscribe to TruthCast UK. Like the video, share your thoughts in the comments and hit that bell so you never miss an update. This is Ellie cutting through the spin so you can see the truth. Until next time, stay informed and stay free.